this is, terrifying in that 15 years apart, the same thing happened within these two King Air planes at a different time to different strangers and different people. But the same thing, what happened is the pilot for each of these died not when they were about to taxi, not when they like landing, but when they are already high in mid-air, in the out there, things just struck and they become unconscious, unresponsive. This happened in 2009, and then this happened in 2024. So, and in each case, the passenger inside the airplane, after the pilot pass out, tries their best to land each of these planes. So let's discuss what went on with the attempt and the outcome, then also for the pilot and things like that. So those are what I want to cover, the facts and about the accident and things like that in this video. So but before we do that, in case you are new here, welcome to Foskaay Aviation. I am Solomon Foskaay, and on this channel I bring you simplified analysis about aviation, plane crash incident, accident and more. So if you are interested in that, you want to like, subscribe, tap notification bell, and don't always like to see your comment as well on your thoughts on those posts. And if you have any aviation accident or incident you want me to also check and analyze, good, put it in the comment. Meanwhile, as a disclaimer and disclosure, I'm not a pilot, just an aviation enthusiast. So now let's look at what really went wrong with this and then what eventually became the end result. These are terrifying moments. You just don't want to be part of such flight. So let's see details of each of these flights. The crash, summary and key facts. The first one, like I said, happened in 2009, date April 12, 2009. Aircraft that happened is Beechcraft B200King Air. So it's a King Air, and this reg number occupant then is 6, though there are some report that said 5, but it include pilot and about 4 passenger or 5 passenger depending on the number we pick. But going by this 6, we have 5 passengers who happen to be White, his wife, and I think 2 daughters, probably a friend, but that's not really confirmed in some reports. So we have at least 5 to 6 people on board. So what then really went wrong in that flight? Pilot dies minutes after takeoff due to heart attack. Then Douglas White license in terms of try to take over to fly. At that time, he doesn't have single engine license. He had some experience flying plane, but like few hours in most are like in single engine and single engine license, not in this aircraft that seems to be like dual engine and things like that. So just probably a few hours or so in any dual engine you might have tried before this time. So it was not like really prepared for that specific aircraft, the Super King Air. So once he tries to take over, he was able to reach out to the ATC, and which they connect into an off-duty King Air instructor to guide him through. Eventually, he was able to have safe landing Southwest Florida International Airport. Later, that story became so big and viral that it was made into movie in 2023. A movie was launched about it called On a Wink and a Prayer, because it was perceived like this is actual miracle. You can imagine what could have happened otherwise. And according to some, I think, videos I've also watched and things like that, some said he was even, and his family were coming from his brother's burial. So you can imagine they coming from his brother's burial as a family, and then the family had to be called again that his own old family also had, died in a crash. That would be devastating to the whole white family. So it's a good some news to them that they eventually survived, and he was able to land the plane successfully. So this is the 2009. You can see this was the plane, this was it, and it landed, no crash. He was able to avert that crash, no any fault or anything damage to the aircraft. So congrats to him and his family. So then let's move on to the second one that happened to also a passenger in King Air in 2024. So how did that eventually go, and how did it end? So basically this was October 4th, 2024. The aircraft is also Beechcraft, but this model was C90AKing Air. So reg number and the occupant for this was said to be just 2 people, which the pilot and a female passenger. So just the pilot and a female passenger. So what happened? This, I was able to get through to the NTSB preliminary report, and the final report is not out yet, even though it's like almost but I doubt they might even really release that, because it doesn't really like classified as a serious accident, that because the aircraft, all those things like that. So pilots incapacitated near Bakersfield with heart disease. So they were flying through, and then at the point in time mid-air, the pilot became incapacitated, so due to heart disease. And then the passenger, this time around, compared to the 2009 Doug White that has experience as pilot on other single engine and things like that, this pilot is a female with 0 twin engine time. She's not a pilot, though some reports said she was like trying to train on pilot training or things like that, but she doesn't have a license at the time, any license at all as a pilot. So we can say she's not yet a pilot. So and she doesn't even have not even flown this type of twin engine King aircraft before. So she was now able to also contact the ATC, which guides her. On the way, there was also report that there are flight issues before she landed, maybe got stuck, but she was able to get it sorted due to the guidance of the air traffic controller, and eventually she got safe landing in Bakersfield with minor gas overrun, because she a bit as runway excursion, a bit off the runway, but she didn't crash into anything, just an open field outside the runway, and she was able to stop. So pilot was evacuated to hospital, but later pronounced dead. So if we look at, that's the image I got for you below here. This was our landing the plane, as you can see it here. This the whole plane, and you can as well see it from here. this Middle's Field airport. So she was able to land there. You can see emergency responders and things all around, and the plane was whole, and they were able to evacuate the pilot. So the pilot didn't just, like, I don't think he had died, or maybe he was, but later he was, pronounced dead eventually. So in both cases, eventually the pilot eventually died, but both the passenger on board and the aircraft, remember, about 4 to 5 passengers were here, a whole family. That would have been so like very kind of devastating. Yeah, the tragedy would have been so devastating, coming from burial of a family member and then calling the family that his whole family has perished again. That would be heartbreaking for them. So this was averted. So even though there is a sad part of it, of the pilot dying, but also there's also a good news of it, that assuming as he died, then nobody could have landed that plane. Then you can imagine the pilot dead, a whole 4-5 family dead, the plane crash, gone. But in this case, the plane itself is intact, the passengers intact and safe, and only the pilot, due to his own health condition. The same also for air, though it's just a passenger, but that life that was saved, and eventually the aircraft as well, was saved intact, landed intact. So that's, if you happen to be in a situation like this, a kind of this terrifying situation, share your experience, or if you've ever been or had somebody. Do you think you can build the confidence or building the readiness? That's part of advantage of watching videos like this. Nobody knows what could come up, so they could mentally give you some level of preparedness that this can happen to anybody at any point in time. So I wish it not to ever happen to you, neither to me, but that is life. We just need to always be prepared. Better prepared than never need it, than need it and never been prepared. So that's just the update on this. And I want you to also watch a video on miracle in Congo, where the whole plane got totally burnt, but amazingly the occupants were evacuated. So how did that happen? Totally burnt. You want to watch it, Miracle in Congo? I will put the link in the description for you, and you can watch other. You can subscribe, tap notification bell, and share your own view in the comment. Thanks so much for watching. I remain Foskaay. Remember to always do good to humanity and nature with your knowledge wherever you go, to make the world and universe a better place for us all. Thanks for tuning in. See you in the next video. Peace and bye. Thank you for tuning in.